UMS Online, Chapter 2, The Office, in which Marinette starts her first day at Agreste Co and has some memorable first encounters. If you missed Chapter 1, find a link in the description below. Well then, enjoy the chapter! The next few weeks seemed to fly by for Marinette. The interview had been a success, and before she knew it, here she was, staring into a flashing facial scanner at the entrance of a minimalistic, contemporary office suite, butterflies in her stomach as she put on her game face for her first day at work. The machine let out a cheerful blip, and the door lock audibly unlatched. So high-tech, Marinette thought to herself. This was her first experience with facial recognition security, having been let in by Natalie for her interview last time, and never having set foot in a building as fancy as this one before. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie. The receptionist was a skinny, dark-skinned young man with glasses seated at a tall stool behind a tall, sleek reception bar. His expression was expectant but somber and professional as Marinette came toward him. "How can I help you, miss?" "Hello, I'm Marinette," Marinette introduced herself. "I'm here to start my internship today. I believe Natalie is expecting me." "Ah, yes, Marinette." The receptionist glanced down, as if checking some notes hidden behind the desk. "That's right. It will be Tikki receiving you, head of design. Let me call her now." Dialing an extension, he picked up the phone, announcing Marinette's arrival to the person on the other end. "Thank you, Marinette asked, checking for a name tag she didn't find. "Max, pleased to make your acquaintance." "Nice to meet you too." Marinette reached over the desk to shake his hand, then pulled a box of macarons out of her bag. "Would you like a macaron? My parents run a bakery." "Oh, no thanks. The sugar crash will make me sleepy. I need to be alert at work." Marinette raised an eyebrow and pulled a tissue out of her bag, using it to pluck a macaron out of the box. "Here's one for later then." Max accepted the offering with a wry smile. Spotting a row of chairs on the other side of the desk, Marinette set her belongings down on one and removed her winter coat, getting a little more comfortable to wait for Tikki. Before long, a woman entered the lobby. She was shorter than Marinette, but not by much. A little plump, with ruddy cheeks and the corners of her eyes creased with smile lines. Her short, auburn-dyed hair was cut into a trim bob. She must be Tikki. Marinette guessed she was in her 50s. Her eyes seemed to twinkle as she approached Marinette. "Marinette?" "Yes, you must be Tikki?" "Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm the director of design. We'll be working together from now on." Tikki stretched out a hand for a brief handshake. Her hand was dry and warm. "The pleasure is all mine." Marinette beamed at the older woman. "I'll take you to your cube. Follow me." Marinette tailed Tikki as she led her down a long hallway outfitted with strip LED lighting. "The rooms on the right are personal meeting rooms," Tikki explained, gesturing to a series of closed doors they were passing. "They're usually for meeting with visitors, but feel free to use one if you need a change of scenery." They came out into a large room with low cubicles. A murmur filled the air from about 25 or so employees on phones. Marinette hoped her work environment wouldn't be like this. She hated feeling exposed while designing. "Tech support," Tikki explained, and led her around the perimeter of the large room into another hallway. "The design department is this way." Just as Marinette was starting to worry she'd be wandering around lost for the first week, Tikki turned around to give her a comforting smile and add, "Don't worry, once you get used to the office, it'll feel small. Plus, I took you the long way so you could see more of the office. I'll show you the shortcut later." Having passed through an open atrium area and up a short flight of steps, they were now facing a bright orange wall. Bold white letters indicated design lay on the right and development on the left.
Here we are. Development is to the left, as you can see.
Tikki led her to the right. The environment felt completely different. They had walked into a large open space. Their footfalls were hushed, the floor was carpeted, and Marinette noticed soundproofing texture on the ceilings and some of the upper walls. It made sense when she noticed that on the left, the wall was divided into sections of large LED screens built into the wall, lined with low plush benches. Marinette assumed these were for group presentations and reviews, and that the soundproofing allowed several such meetings to happen at the same time in the open space, without voices bouncing around too much. Lush potted plants and floor-to-ceiling windows separated each of the viewing areas, giving the whole hall an open, refreshing feeling. On the right was a row of studios with floor-to-ceiling glass walls and doors facing toward the main hall. She could see people working in some of the studios, ample desks set against the glass walls so that the designers were facing toward the hall. Marinette realized the designers were able to see the whole hall, but no one could see the screens they were working on. She quirked a half smile. She could appreciate that. Some of the rooms, however, seemed to have mirror surfaces instead of glass. Before she could turn to Tikki to ask about them, the older woman was ready with an answer.
There's a switch inside each studio to make the glass wall opaque. On the inside, you can set the wall to display whatever you want. On the outside, it looks like a mirror. Sometimes you just need to change the environment to get inspired.
Wow! Marinette's jaw dropped. This is like an office out of my dreams. Tikki giggled.
One of the main selling points of the game is how visually engaging it is. It's only natural that Mr. Agreste values the design team highly and wants us to have a comfortable working environment.
This was more than just comfortable. It was awesome!
By the way,
Tikki said as she led Marinette to one of the studio rooms on the far end of the hall. It was a bit smaller than the ones near the entrance, but still generously sized.
Each designer works on a powerful laptop hooked into a docking station. That means if you need to work somewhere else, you can take the laptop with you. That way, you're not stuck in the cube. But of course, it's ideal to work here.
Understood, Marinette nodded. Waving Marinette inside the studio, Tikki guided her to sit in the main chair while she pulled out a fold-up chair that had been tucked behind the door. She explained what Marinette would be working on and gave her a tour of the software and folder structure. The briefing took about an hour just to go over the basics. There was a lot, of course, but Marinette knew that a deep understanding of the system and background were essential for a good, reliable designer.
As for your first project,
Tikki concluded,
it will be to make that ladybug suit available on the market. That means you'll have to adjust your model to meet our standards and functionality and make sure it's fully configured to be used by the game engine.
Okay, no problem. Marinette couldn't help but grin broadly. This couldn't be real.
And Mr. Agreste mentioned that you were working on a Cat Noir model as well, but it wasn't finished when you came in for the interview. Would you be able to finish that by the end of the week?
It's already finished, actually.
Great! Then I'll make an appointment for you to present it.
Do you feel comfortable to start working now? Yes, Marinette answered confidently.
Thank you for everything, Tikki. It's nothing.
Tikki grasped Marinette's hand firmly, giving her a warm smile.
You know my extension. Give me a call if you need anything. And welcome to the company. We're very lucky to have you.
I'll do my best, Marinette answered, squeezing Tikki's hand in return. And honestly, I'm the lucky one. I never would have expected to be here today. Once Tikki had slipped out, letting the slim glass door close behind her with a muted puff of air, Marinette inserted her flash drive and transferred her model files to her new desktop. The transfer finished in a matter of seconds. Wow, the laptop was smooth as butter, faster than any desktop computer she'd used. She opened the Ladybug file and got to work. Thank you for listening to UMS Online Chapter 2 Part 1. The rest will be continued in Part 2.